lots of fights still happening.
Yep, and the first team is landing right now. That's Socksfour Stole My Rifter team is landing right now. They have Molus, Vexer, and Jaguar.
Yes.
And
So again, no,
something else there as well.
Executor.
Yes.
So
So T1LG again.
Team Socksfour definitely fielding something that I like. I like the Vexers last match. I'm happy to see him back this match. They do have that Tech 1 Logi that we were just talking about. They have the Molus, which is the Tech 1 Galinti Damp Frigate. So that'll be effective against the other team if they also have their own logistics. And the Jaguar is going to be interesting. Jag is not known to be a really substantial armor tanker, so hopefully he can survive the initial burst. And then 2 Vexers. We'll have to see if they're using the Sentry payload like the TGL's Fanny Pack team from last match.
And the other team has now landed. That shall be Team CONT. They bringing 3 assault breaks in terms of retribution and double Enyo. Enyo, of course, known for high DPS. They have an Executor for Logi, and they have an Arbitrator, something we haven't seen thus far.
So, very interestingly, this Molus is going to be able to damp out the Logi of Deather in the Executor. That's on team completely useless. So we'll have to see if those damps hit early and if they can use those Vexers to volley one of these frigates. The problem is the Vexers are not going to be able to get their damage out too quickly. So likely Deather in the Executor will have a little bit of time to lock up and get reps on the Enyo and the Retribution.
Yeah. Matches now go. I'm looking at the Vexers. They look to have guns, so no newts on there. I'm guessing these will be brawling Vexers, and indeed they are setting course straight to the opposing team.
Well, they did come in at range, but they are burning in, like you said. They've light drone payloads out, so we can definitely expect them to go for the frigates. We can see the damps coming across already onto Deather in the Executor. Let's hope that he can get in range to rep the Enyo of Tampopo Field before he goes down, but he's already taken a lot of damage.
I'm seeing, I think, a sensor booster effect coming from the Executor, so that's a good thing. Molluses are very cheap in this format, only 2 points, so this really work to bring a damp ship or 2.
So the Executor of Silac on the CCP Socksfour team has Warriors out, but they're just orbiting him, so that's DPS they're missing out on. But it doesn't seem to matter as Tampopo when the Enyo is hitting structure.
But they're trading for the Jaguar, though. The Weblakin in the Jaguar and the Socksfour team is bleeding into structure, and Enyo explodes, but the Jaguar is going to be following soon. Meanwhile, the Arbitrator on the CONT team is, well, out of shields, taking a little bit of armor damage, but I imagine there's a 1600 plate on that.
And he is still very close to that Executor of Deather, if I'm not mistaken, so the rep should be landing. Oh, Deather is actually burning away as this Arbitrator goes into half armor. So that initial assault frigate trade, the Jag for the Enyo, I think CCP Socksfour team got the better of that. That Enyo is putting out more DPS than the Jag, so I would have taken that trade happily if I were them.
Meanwhile, the Arbitrators, they're getting completely annihilated by 2 Vexers, or basically at 0 meters from him, just wailing into him. There's now actually rep drones on the field, and the rep drones are trying to save the Arbitrator, but that's not that much repairing power.
So even with the full benefit of Deather's reps in the Executor, the Arbitrator still goes down. That's definitely a grim sign for completely useless. As these Vexers are now going to chip away at the remaining ships. They're going to take out the Enyo, and then they'll just have the Exec and the Vengeance to kill. And I don't see really any way back from this. It's pretty solidly in the hands of CCP Socksfour team now.
Yeah. Maybe if the Executor on the Socksfour team decides to disconnect all of a sudden, then they might pull out this match for the CONT side. But I really don't see that happening. And you'll may be very DPS heavy if you do the proper fit, but not to break 2 Vexers.
So at this point, somebody needs to make a play for the Logi Cruisers. I don't think anything else on grid is going to die, as long as these Logi Cruisers are not E-ward and sitting still. And just as I say that, Deather in the Executor starts to take damage on the side of completely useless.
There's another fact here. On points, Socksfour's team is already ahead. They have 2
Right.
cruisers remaining plus the Logi cruiser, so they have 24 points still on the field.
So Deather's Executor has a medium ancillary armor upper, but he only gets off it looked like 1 cycle before he sinks.
Yeah, he had a repair module.
Oh, okay. So I see what's happened here. These Vexers have geckos, by the way, on the side of CCP Socksfour.
That is a shit ton of DPS, as they say.
Yeah. So that's they almost volleyed that Executor, and I was wondering how they managed that with Warriors. I was pretty impressed. Now I realized they're almost cheating by having what are considered to be some of the most ridiculous OP drones in the game, though they are better after the rebalance. But those geckos still have huge volleys. They're still quite quick, and they have
massive DPS, massive tank on these geckos. I'm still undecided as to if I believe they are actually balanced.
that Inyo is going down now. He is off the field.
Yeah,
and
clean up from here. You might consider looting. On the other side, if the CONT team would have broken the Vexers, then yes, you want to loot the geckos, of course. I'm not sure what they price here, but they're still limited, of course.
Unfortunately, we're having some interference.
Yeah, there's a Worm, a 4X and a Scythe fleet issue. Might be targets of some sort. Let me see.
They are
Warriors, yeah.
They are definitely war targets of RVB here to interrupt the fight. So unfortunately, this one will be a little.
And in not the planned fashion, but they're still
right.
Thanks to fight enough because the Socksfour team was really hitting quite hard.
Right. So an unfortunate end, but thankfully the match was already far enough along that we could call a winner without this interference changing the outcome.
Yeah, we'll clean up these interlopers, and then we'll be ready to go.
Okay, so match 5 of day 1 goes to Team CCP Socksfour. A really nice showing from the Vexers. Different drone payload, but really nice fight. Well flown by both sides. So we're going to hop out, deal with the chaos that is this grid right now, and then we'll be back for match 6, which will be between teams Faster Than Fright and Meat Popsicle. So we'll see you guys back here in a few for that match. Bye-bye.